What's up everybody, welcome back to Sick Eric Tech, and today we're going to be doing another comparison video. We're going to be comparing the legendary, infamous LG V60 versus the Motorola G Stylus 2023. You get LG's older flagship device over here and Motorola's newer budget slash mid-range device over here as well. We're going to be going on over the specs of both of these guys and going on over some pictures and video taken side by side of both of these as well, along with some display comparisons, and see which one you might want to pick up. The Motorola can be had for about $300, $399, somewhere around there, and the V60 definitely under $200. So which one do you guys want to spend your money on? Before we do, consider subscribing and clicking that bell icon. That way you don't miss out on future videos just like this. So let's go. LG V60 versus Motorola G Stylus 2023. Let's go. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started on this comparison. The LG V60 versus the Motorola G Stylus 2023 model. Now, both of these devices did come out at different times. The V60 came out at 2020, while the Motorola came out just a little bit earlier this year. So let's go ahead and get started with the dimensions. So the Motorola is about 6.41 inches from top to bottom and 2.91 inches wide and 0.36 inches thin. The back is constructed out of plastic, and the frame is constructed out of plastic as well. Does not mention what kind of Gorilla Glass is on the front. I'm guessing about maybe four for that Gorilla Glass, and it is a really nice design. The back does not pick up fingerprints. I don't know how they did it, plastic back, but you cannot see any fingerprints on the Motorola, which always looks clean. You're wiping the front more than you're wiping the back, so very nice. It weighs about 7.13 ounces, so it has a little bit of weight to it, and it feels really good in the hand, especially with these curved edges on the back. Feels really good, and these rounded corners feel real good as well. You get a flat display. So going on over to the LG V60, you get a 6.67 inches from top to bottom, and it is 3.6 inches wide and 0.35 inches thin on the front, and Gorilla Glass 6 on the rear. You get an aluminum frame, so it feels a lot more durable in the hand, and it feels more robust in the hand as well. And you do get a flat display. It is IP68 dust and water resistant with the MIL STD A10G compliant, drop resistant, military grade drop resistant on the LG V60, while over here on the Motorola you just get a water repellent design. As far as fingerprints go, you get a side mounted fingerprint on the Motorola, while on the V60 you get an in-display fingerprint. So let's go ahead and see which one unlocks first. So the Motorola definitely a little bit faster than the V60's optical fingerprint sensor. As you can see right there, I really do like these fingerprints on the power button, so they are a little bit more faster, more reliable. Now, as far as displays go, you get a 6.6 inch IPS LCD display on the Motorola. It does have a 120 hertz refresh rate and about 87.5% screen to body ratio, 1080 by 2400 with 399 pixels per inch. Going on over to the LG V60, you get a 6.8 inch POLED, supports HDR10 plus, about 83.6% screen to body ratio, 1080 by 2460 with 395 pixels per inch. Now the V60 does have an always on display, while the Motorola has its peak display, which I prefer always on compared to the peak on the Motorola, but the Motorola does it quite well when giving you your notifications and being able to react to them. While over here on the V60 you do get some toggles for your quick toggles, such as your Bluetooth, flashlight, and when you're playing music you are able to switch through music Same thing over here on the Motorola. You move it, your music player will come up. Really nice and interactive for both of these. Now, both of these devices are running Android 13 with surprisingly the same security patch on both of them. Both of these do have the May security patch, which is crazy. They're both behind, but LG is out of the game. But still, it is still the same May security patch as the Motorola. The LG V60 just got upgraded to Android 13. While over here on the Motorola, both of these are running Android 13. Like I said, you get the Snapdragon 6 Gen 1 processor, and you get 6 gigabytes of RAM with 128 gigabytes of internal storage with expandable micro SD card support on the Motorola, which is absolutely fantastic. Going on over to the V60, you're running the Snapdragon 865 processor, more of a flagship processor, but it is older. The Adreno 650 GPU, you get 8 gigabytes of RAM and 128 gigabytes of internal storage with expandable micro SD card support over here on the LG as well. So fantastic news that both of these devices do have SD card support. Really, really nice to see on that front. Now, as far as performance goes, they feel about the same. I would say that the Motorola feels a little bit smoother with that higher refresh rate compared to the V60s only having 60 hertz refresh rate. The Motorola with its 120 hertz feels smoother just because of that. But as far as performance goes, the LG V60 can handle more when it comes down to processing power. Trying to edit a video on the Motorola using something like Power Director, everything was just laggy. Everything was delayed. Every change you made to the video or deletion or addition, you had to restart the app. It does not handle high-end stuff like, extreme gaming or editing videos. It is going to be choppy. While over here in the V60, you can do that all day over here. You could handle video editing, playing games over here, recording video. Obviously, both of these are going to be really good, but the V60 takes the cake when it comes down to just processing and handling that power, even though it's a faster or even though it's an older chipset. It is a lot better at that processing than the Motorola being a mid-range chipset. But as far as everyday use, they both feel about the same, and they're both going to get the job done pretty easily with everyday, daily tasks, social media, and doing things like that, watching videos. They're both absolutely fantastic. Display-wise, they're both fantastic as well. The LG, even though it has a lower refresh rate, the colors on here are actually really good compared to the Motorola, and I think Motorola really stepped up the game when it comes down to their displays. I prefer OLEDs over LCD, so to each his own when it comes down to what type of LCD you got or what type of OLED you got. You get the water drop notch over here on the LG, while over here on Motorola you do get that hole punch cutout. Bezels are about the same on both of them, so nothing difference there. But I would say that the V60 has better colors, might get a little bit brighter. So yeah, now going on over to the cameras on both of these guys. The LG V60 does come with a main sensor of 64 megapixels with an aperture of f1.8. It does support dual pixel PDAF autofocus and optical image stabilization. You get a 13 megapixel ultra wide with an aperture of f1.9, and then you also get a 0.3 megapixel time of flight 3D sensor on the back. That's going to help with your portrait videos and depth sensing and things like that. Front facing camera is going to be a 10 megapixel front facing camera, and you can record all the way up to 4K 30 frames per second on this front camera. It does support HDR. On the rear, you can record all the way up to 8K 30 frames per second on the V60. Of course, your 4K 30 and 60. And going on over to the Motorola, you get a 50 megapixel main sensor with an aperture of f1.9. It does support PD AF autofocus, 8 megapixel ultra wide f2.2 that also has autofocus so that's pretty good. Your front facing camera is going to be a 16 megapixel aperture of f2.5. It also supports HDR, but you can only record up to 1080p 30 frames per second on the front-facing camera of the Motorola, and 4K 30 frames per second on the rear. So keep that in mind. The cameras on the V60 a lot better than the cameras on the Motorola, especially when it comes down to manual video mode that you get on the LG V60, along with manual camera mode. But you also do get some cool stuff on the Motorola, such as that dual capture and things like that. You can have dual capture on video and on pictures. But I would say that the LG V60 definitely more powerful of a camera. You probably be seeing some pictures on your screen right now on what you would how these look. You do get a pro mode on the Motorola, but it's only for photos, not for video. So keep that in mind. But I would say that the Motorola definitely has improved when it comes down to pictures and stuff. And I'm always getting this stop right here when trying to take video on a Motorola. It seems like whenever something else gets used or is using the camera, I always get that, and it's quite annoying. It happens quite frequently on a Motorola. But yeah, both take excellent pictures. The stabilization way better over here on the V60 compared to the Motorola, and they both look good. They're both going to do the job just fine. Point and shoot cameras, but you get more capabilities on the V60. Now the Motorola does have Bluetooth 5.1, and it does support USB Type-C 2.0, while over here on the V60 you get Bluetooth 5.1 as well. You get Wi-Fi 6 over here, and both of the Bluetooth are actually quite good. You get a lot of connection when it comes down to distance, about maybe 200 feet on both of them until they start cutting out. Now as far as speakers go, they both do have stereo speakers. The LG V60 does have its LG 3D sound engine over here on the V60. You do have auto, cinema, music, and voice, while over here on the Motorola you get Dolby Atmos with your smart audio, music, movie, game, podcast, and custom. And they both sound really good. I prefer Atmos over the LG 3D surround sound just because I like Atmos better. I don't really use this a lot, only maybe, using it to listen to Audible or something like that. I just don't like the way it sounds with music, so I pretty much either turn on auto or turn it off, and I definitely prefer the settings over here on the Motorola. As far as speakers go, they both sound really good, so let's go ahead and take a listen of both of these speakers. That way you guys could get an idea of how they sound. Alright, so which one sounded better, the LG V60 or the Motorola G Stylus 2023? But I think they both sound really good. The V60 might get a little bit louder and more crisp with that audio, while over here on the Motorola, everything just sounds muddled and just thrown together. There's not much separation between the highs, the mids, and the lows. So definitely over here, the V60 sounds just a little bit better when it comes down to speakers. Now, both of these devices do have a 5,000 milliamp hour battery. Over here on the Motorola, you get 20-watt wired charging with no charger included in the box, which is very sad to see. No wireless charging on the Motorola. And over here on the V60, again, 5,000 milliamp hour battery. You get 25 watts of wired charging with 15 watts wireless charging as well. So you do get wireless charging on the V60. Battery life on both of these, I would have to maybe give it to the Motorola. It definitely outlasts the V60 just by a little bit. Both of these are definitely a full day, day and a half of usage when it comes down to battery life, but the V60 might be my copy. Might have a little bit of battery degradation, so it does not last as long as it used to, just because the battery is older. And this phone, of course, is several years old. That's what happens with the devices. Your battery degrades over time. So the Motorola might come in just a little bit ahead when it comes down to longevity. Definitely a 2-day device while over here on the V6. While over here on the V60, at least my V60, it goes about a day and a half before you actually have to charge it. And like I said, wireless charging over here, no wireless charging over here, no charger in the box, charger in the box if you were to find this new or used or whatever. Either way, this does not come with a charger in the box. Now, as far as the colors for both of these devices, they do only come in 2 colors. You get the Cosmic Black over here and a Rose Champagne for the Motorola, while over here in the V60 you get Classy Blue, which is this color right here, and a Classy White. Now, both of these are T-Mobile variants, so keep that in mind. The specs may differ between T-Mobile and coming from, say like Motorola's website. The Motorola G Stylus does come with a 6 GB and 256 GB of internal storage if you were to purchase this straight from Motorola, but the T-Mobile version is going to be 128 GB of internal storage. So what do you guys think of both of these devices? Which one do you think might look the best to grab? The LG V60 can be had for about $200, maybe even less, depending on where you would look. While over here on the Motorola, it's going to be $300, maybe $399, depending on which model, like I said, do you were get. If you were to go on T-Mobile, $300. If you were to go to Motorola, $399. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video of the LG V60 versus the Moto G Stylus 2023. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it, and I can't wait to see you next time. Peace.